So, when it comes to being visible, as well as turning off your phone or putting your phone on silent while you're recording these, when it comes to being visible, I'm not just talking about the small business owner, one man band entrepreneurial types. I'm talking about organizations and people in organizations. I'm talking about the smaller business owners or the SMEs, and you can have 25, 30 staff. Most of the people that I have spoken to who have expressed some sort of fear, they've often spoken about weird stuff happening to them or the possibility of that happening to them. They feared things like being stalked online because they're giving too much information. Their visibility leading to them being harmed in some way. They've worried about the cybersecurity of whether it could fully protect them and whether it can fully protect them. And I remember one such conversation where the person expressed a fear of being killed. In fact, now I say that, I now actually remember 3 people telling me, I know this seems really irrational, that, but if I put myself out there too visibly, I could end up being killed. So yeah, 3 people that spring to mind as I'm just kind of like saying this out loud and live. And whether we deem it to be a fear, an irrational fear, a phobia, something that we're just being anxious about, I think we all get to choose the way that we want to be. We want to be visible. So what I tended to do, because, in all honesty, as I've said many times before, I love being on social media. I really enjoy it. I have been very blessed that I don't have concerns around my mental health, or I don't have any kind of fear about putting myself out there and being online. And if I'm honest, I'm not really sure why. I'm not sure why, because like many other people, I've been called names in my life and have got every reason not to put myself out there. And as I said, I think in the very first audio of this, to me, the work as a visibility specialist doesn't feel like it's about my ego and being in front of people. It feels very deeply mission driven. And I really hope to share even more of what's behind that drive if I can pluck it out myself. So when I hear people saying that they fear they're going to come to harm or being killed, it really moves me. It really shakes me, because the first thing I want to know is that really true? And also I want to dive deeper into what their past experiences have been. Ultimately, I'm very self-aware and will always self-reflect. Ultimately, going through this journey, over 10, 11 months, it really forced me to ask myself some honest questions. And I'm going to reflect back what I wrote in my journal and ask those questions to you right now. Now, they are kind of rhetorical. In that, I mean, I'm asking this, you're likely listening to this on YouTube. It's a public video on YouTube. My expectation isn't that you answer this publicly, but you answer it for you. If you feel compelled to respond publicly, then obviously that's up to you. And I'm happy for you to do that. But what I'm saying is that you don't have to. So the question, whether you are a business owner or not, is, what are you actually getting back from social media? Now, that might seem like, well, more clients, more people looking at my work, more people wanting to buy my book, more people hearing about my system, more people wanting to buy my creams, more people wanting to buy this product that I sell or that product, more people knowing that blue aliens really do exist. It could be anything, right? But think about that for a moment. What are you actually getting back from social media? And be honest and sit with whatever comes up for you. As I did, you might want to journal and write down what comes up for you. And you'll be surprised, because when I have asked a very small number of people this question, very, very different things come up. We've got one person where a few different things come up. Another person was very commercial in their response. And another person said, you know what, I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that question. So you might have to sit with this for, a bit longer than a few seconds, a few minutes. It might be something you go back to if you've got a regular journaling practice. Or if you're a thinker and a walker, you might be thinking about this as you walk the dog or walk yourself or go for a run or pound at the gym. Or even as you get on your commute to your next destination. Maybe you're getting on a flight, going on holiday, sitting by the beach. Sit with whatever comes up for you and make a note of it somewhere for yourself so that you can explore, so that you can uncover it in a deeper way. And then I have another question for you. What do you notice about the way you are or the way you act on a regular basis while using social media? And again, I feel like I don't want to share any examples. I don't want to flavor whatever comes up for you. But what do you notice about the way you are or the way you act on a daily basis whilst using social media? And again, same process applies. You might want to sit and write down or journal your answer. I'm going to share a couple of things that came up for me. This might put it into context for you, or it might be completely different. But I like to be open and transparent while obviously saving my privacy. When I first asked this question, I was surprised at what came up, because I'd been thinking about this and thinking that my answer was going to be an obvious answer. But given the stage of life that I'm at, one of the first things that came up, and this was in conversation, I remember speaking to a very good friend of mine, and we noticed there are really big conversations around menopause, perimenopause. A lot of people and a lot of organisations, thankfully, now open to all the things that this can bring, including the exploration of the gender biases that we have currently, or previously lived through. A whole nother bigger conversation. But I'm going to share what I'm about to share isn't based on like a medical examination or verified by doctors or anything else like that. It's just going to be me sharing openly and transparently. So I noticed that within myself, I presumed was maybe the earlier stages or subtle stages of perimenopause. Here's what I meant. What I noticed within myself was my short-term, the difference between my short-term and my long-term memory loss. Now, this is from somebody whose earliest memory I thought was 18 months. A family member confirms that it was more like 9 months. But looking skyward out of a pram, and I was able to describe the person pushing me, who I knew wasn't my mum. And when I described this to my family member, they said, "You can't remember that. There's no way you can remember that. You were 8 or 9 months old, and that person was this person." I remember describing a lot more detail. Also, someone who prides myself on remembering things, throughout my life, I've been a trainer. I've had to remember lots of factual information. Yeah, of course, it's not a memory test and you can make notes, but I've had lots of memories. I even remember my early days at nursery school, the teachers, the toys I played with, the things I enjoyed. But if I'm honest, I worried at times that I was maybe perimenopausal, or even what if I was entering some sort of early stages of dementia? it did scare me, but it made me more determined to get my work out there as quickly as possible before I quite simply forgot it all. But here's what I noticed. There was a definite rise in my thoughts, flitting here, there, and everywhere. So as well as what I thought was a long and short-term memory loss, or could, possibly be, my thoughts would flit. The best way for me to articulate this was I felt like sometimes I couldn't focus. I had an issue focusing. I could be doing something and right in the middle of it, I could skip onto something else. But it felt strange to me because I remember back in my corporate days, that wasn't the way that I operated. However, it's been well over a decade since then, and well over 3 since I kind of first got into my life at work. When I spoke to people, we said, "Oh, well, you sound like you're a bit ADHD." Interesting that could get more intensified as time went on, or over a shorter space of time. So as well as the short and long-term memory loss, as well as the flitting in my thoughts, I sometimes found it harder to concentrate. And don't get me wrong, I was that child at school that would sit and daydream out of a window when I was supposed to be doing work. And I did take elements of that into my adulthood, but my ability to concentrate and focus really sometimes just felt like I was pushing water uphill. And my ability to enjoy life. Now, I'm not going to be dramatic about this. I enjoy life. I still enjoy life. I just found that I was living my life through a online flavored filter, kind of based on, well, this is great. This would be a really great thing that could add value online. This could be really great to help people see this. This could be really great to demonstrate that. And the other thing I noticed, despite having bookshelves filled with books over the years and loving books, I was finding it harder to read physical books on paper. I was happy to read through Kindle, happy to stare at the bookshelf filled with, a gazillion autobiographies and self-help books and whatever was required whilst I was studying. But I also found that I didn't have the appetite to read paper books as much as I used to. And this was strange to me. And throughout this kind of experiment on myself, throughout the sort of 10 months, 11 months that it's coming up to now, I found that by looking at my time and how I spend my time on social media, in connection to the use of my smartphone and how I was using it, I found that a lot of these things actually reversed. And as I record this with you now, I'm actually in the midst of taking a whole month off social media, and my memory seems to be, sharper than it's ever been, definitely sharper than it's been for a long time. My focus, my gosh, because I'm not scrolling or thinking of what to add or inspired, and having that inspiration take me out of whatever current thought place I was in, I'm finding that my focus and my work, I'm getting through a ton of stuff. And if I sound surprised, it's because I am. My concentration levels are definitely getting better. Definitely noticing a difference on that. And I take photos and videos and do things for me as opposed to what would make great content on social media. So have a little think about some of those things that I've been talking about there. And have you got others? Are there any more that spring to mind? Add them in the comments below if you feel comfortable to. And the other thing I'm curious about is, like, what did you get most from this audio? I'd be really intrigued to know. So in the next audio, I'm going to talk about an example, the difference of being online and on social media versus YouTube or something like that in relation to Facebook. So I'll start talking about that and some of the underlying concerns that people have had, but also some of the things that you can do about it as well. Can't wait to hear what you say to this one. Bye for now.